Hello guys, and I want to ask you a question. How do you feel about the double standards? The double standards at work, in the relationships, in the family, I don't know, in business. I'm sure that is something everybody hates because to be able to develop normal relations, to, I don't know, teach children, to plan future, you have to follow some standards that are universal for everyone. And I've decided to ask this question because I want to start this video with something very sacred for many of you, but I'm also talking about very sacred things for me, so I hope I will not offend anyone. Tell me, please, what is the difference between a 9/11 attack when evil people targeted planes into the civilian buildings, killing lots of innocent people, with what Russia does to Ukraine on daily basis for 3.5 years. For example, today, hundreds of those evil small drones targeted sleeping people in their homes, in the apartment buildings, and then all was finished by a couple of missiles, destroying like all these parts, blocks of buildings, and killing 15 people. I hate saying the numbers. I always avoid doing that because unfortunately they keep growing a day later, 2 days later. But just think about that in the capital of a European country in the 21st century. And here I don't mean that any other continents are okay for that, but just like center it all. It's not happening on Mars or elsewhere. 15 people were killed, lots of children, lots of elderly people, and many are still under rubble. And there are tons of videos. And they do not persuade anyone that Russia is a terrorist state. Look how easy it is to say these things, especially after you see the truth, after you do not close your eyes, and that's a sin. And all this weakness from the rusty leader of the White House, because I don't want to name him the leader of the US, from the coalition of the willing that somehow turned into the coalition of the doubting and observing, with this weakness that they describe as escalation management, we actually invite a big war. Because Putin knows in a couple of years he may lose this opportunity together with Trump in the White House. And trust me, if we do not stand against that all as decisively as we do in Ukraine, they will continue and they will do it really quickly. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, subscribe and share these videos to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. Tonight, as every night, Russia targeted Ukraine with drones and missiles. They love these combined attacks because first they overload Ukrainian air defense with hundreds of drones that we want to stop, and then they finish it all with Iskander missiles. And you know, right now, President Trump does not want to sell air defense to Ukraine. You know, they have redirected dozens of thousands of anti-drone missiles to the Middle East, somehow that were promised to Ukraine and actually, according to the contract, were supposed to be already here. And we are left unprotected. I do love it when you say the Ukrainian spirit will win. But guys, if we observe this unity between Russia, China, North Korea, again, new agreement, more thousands of North Koreans traveling to Russia and the front lines, and they supply them without any delays, without any hesitation, without any bureaucracy, with everything they need. And if we are not allowed to even buy air defense, the Ukrainian spirit will not stop missiles. It did not stop a missile of destroying a house. Spirit is good to remain fighting. Spirit is good to join the army, to invent something, but it cannot help you against anything. And sometimes I'm even angry when it's time to act, it's time to address your politicians, it's time to demonstrate support with some actions, and people keep saying me, don't worry, Ukrainian spirit will prevail. But guys, it does not save. It's good, we have already demonstrated this miracle, but so many betrayals, so many double standards. This G7 meeting that happens right now, Lots of leaders taking pictures in beautiful sceneries, that's great. But how many of them comment and react with actions to what Russia did? That is a terrorist act. And people are afraid to pronounce the phrase. And Trump even had to escape the meeting because he did not want to meet Zelenskyy. What can he say? He wants to be with Putin. He wants to do deals with Putin. He does not know history. He does not know politics. It was so humiliating to watch him as the American president saying that Russia attacked Ukraine because it was thrown out of G8. First of all, Russia was thrown out of G8 after it attacked Ukraine and annexed Crimea. Second, Trump named Trudeau responsible for that. Trudeau was not a prime minister at that time. He was elected only in 2015, a year later. What's that? A cognitive decline, or it was always like that, it seems. But that is humiliating. That is humiliating that such a rusty person represents the greatest nation, the teacher of the democracy to many of us. Please share these videos to remind others and subscribe if you're new. We need strong communities because the world is in great trouble. Such weakness definitely inspires Putin. Let's have a look. With such attitudes, with these tariffs, with lots of things that he does in a very weird manner, he looks very tired, very bad. It's obvious, and all these protests coming, that Trump will not be a leader for the next decade. But at the same time, right now, he's the best advocate for Putin. He even doesn't understand when he boasts that Putin congratulated him with his birthday and that Putin only speaks to him. He doesn't even understand that nobody else wants to speak to Putin. It's not because Trump is lucky. It's because he is that ignorant, that, okay, I have to be a polite girl, that he continues talking to him. There were years when people were trying to seduce Putin into something normal. Way too kind they were. Angela Merkel supported the idea of Nord Stream. There were lots of economic programs open for Russia, way more than for Ukraine or any other Eastern European country. People were constantly encouraging Russia, hoping it will change its attitude. It didn't work. Russia used all the opportunities and kept humiliating your trust. And Macron, do you remember all these hours? We were mocking Macron for speaking to Putin for hours. These long tables with Scholz. All the leaders spoke to him, but when they realized that Putin is crazy, that Putin is the greatest war criminal of the 21st century, they stopped talking to him because that's a disgrace for those leaders and for their nations. And Trump does not understand that. He boasts that the bloody dictator, literally Hitler of the 21st century, congratulated him with his 79th birthday. He's 79 and he's got no wisdom. And this weakness, this constant advocacy from the White House to the Kremlin goblin, definitely inspires him to act. I know that you have come across a lot of reports coming from the German intelligence, coming from the British intelligence, all warning, and even coming from the American intelligence, all warning about Russia preparing attacks on more countries, on NATO countries, provoking conflicts, maybe Suwalki Gap, maybe something else to break this unity in NATO. And oh my God, with Hungary, for example, with some other countries, we already see no unity. So all Putin wants to do is expose that. And Trump will not apply Article 5, or he will pull America out and everyone will be lost and devastated. And Putin knows that he has this very short period of time to do it. Because Trump will not last long with such attitudes. There are a number of options that can lead to his end as a serving person. an impeachment, something else. And Putin needs to use it. And that is why, when we think about the potential attacks on some NATO countries, it may happen sooner than they expect. Many of you think it's impossible. I also thought the full-scale war with aviation, with bombs and missiles falling on our cities is impossible. That's crazy. No way. But before you think so, just ask yourself, are you prepared to conscript? Do you know the number of soldiers in your army, and didn't they stop conscripting? Or because I've heard that many countries actually see a serious problem that more and more of their professional military men quit because they understand, they smell the big war is coming and they don't want to participate. And lots of strategies that were developed by NATO does not work in the era of drones. Aviation superiority that many of you mention as an argument, Russians typically get into very heavily populated areas and disperse there with their groups and tanks. Will your countries bomb your own cities because Russians are hiding there? They use these techniques. As those of you who follow Russian war in Ukraine might have noticed, they don't follow Geneva Convention, they don't follow rules. They can mine animals, they mined toys in the flats that they occupied temporarily near Kyiv, for example. Don't expect like normal wars or something similar troops experienced, I don't know, in Afghanistan in the mountains. This is already a world war. China, North Korea, Iran, and all of these conflicts, for example, in Iran, they are all growing because Russia fueled them. Russia supplied Iran with the information they needed, with scientists. Now North Korea supplies, and once again, Shoigu traveled to North Korea, supplies them with people. Don't you see that? It's already happening. The fact that we don't name it this way, or the fact that we keep closing our eyes, and I here don't mean Ukrainians, I mean our allies, it does not stop it. And Trump, okay, I cannot be like 100%, tolerant all the time. It's okay if one part of people wanted to ruin their own country and decided to choose Trump. But unfortunately, that's the worst timing possible, and such weak leader, rusty leader, can ruin the world. And I do hope that more and more of the thinking leaders, observing leaders, see his weakness, see his inadequacy, see his love for Putin, for Kim Jong-un, his love for totalitarian parades, his desire to sacrifice Ukraine for the sake of satisfying Putin. And the same will happen to many countries. So I do believe that more and more people see that and they will act accordingly. Maybe just a short spell in the history of the United States. And it may be that Trump literally escaped from G7. Literally escaped from G7 because he had nothing to say and he felt that the attitude of his colleagues changed. Because they see, how do you say, that the emperor is without the clothes. And on this sentimental note, you know that for like a month after this failed negotiations, when Trump literally gave green light to Putin to attack Ukraine, and that's why we can actually name this Trump-Putin attacks on Ukraine, because they keep pretending the negotiation process is happening. That's why no sanctions, no new weapons for Ukraine. Please keep targeting sleeping children in their homes, just like classical terrorists, but with the blessing of the White House. So you know what? For more than a month, I don't open my window at night at home because I love sleeping with open windows in summer, but I don't because the sounds of air defense and drones wake me up. We are all so worn out that we want to sleep even with drones flying behind our windows. But sometimes they destroy these windows together with lives of these people. And as I record this video, lots of parents are waiting near the rubbles of that buildings for their children to be found. Just imagine for a second what they are thinking and what they are feeling when the White House says we are expecting a deal. Please share. That's very important. I rarely allow myself to be that sincere because I try to respect everybody else's opinions and emotions. But oh my God, this is so wrong. And wrong steps cannot bring us, cannot lead us to something good. And I worry now, not just for Ukraine, but the world. Follow me on the other channel, Anna Danilchuk, where I share more about my Ukrainian experiences in times of the big war. And in the recent video, I shared more about the nuclear weapons of Ukraine and how do we feel about getting them back. Also, follow me on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky and Threads, and we have an amazing Discord community. By the way, on Instagram, I'm sharing more moments from the our fifth SNAFO campaign, but in general, that was the 42nd convoy. And there are lots of good materials coming, but thank you so much for making it possible and for making us stronger. You are way better than many of our leaders. Love you a lot. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. And thank you so much for standing with us. People can change a lot. Slava Ukraini!